Now the cooling system on your car is one of the most important and integral components in the entire vehicle. And if something goes wrong, it could lead to catastrophic engine failure. Don't ask me how I know that. But welcome to the channel, guys. Welcome to another video. I'm going to be replacing the coolant distribution pipe on my BMW E90. This is a 320D which is equipped with the M47 engine. This runs from 2005 all the way to 2007. The 2008 pre-facelift vehicles came with the N47. So bear in mind with that. Now, this pipe runs from the thermostat all the way to the back of the engine and branches off into the radiator as well. It's fairly inexpensive, quite simple to replace, but only the steps involved are a little bit tricky. So I'm going to put the car up in the air, drain the coolant, and we'll get started. Now before we get started, I'm going to remove all of the engine covers as you've seen in many other videos. I'll remove the engine covers and get to the main parts where we need to be. So now before we begin, I want to show you exactly which pipe I'm talking about. It's this one right here, which runs from the thermostat to the radiator, which should have been to the EGR, which is blanked off on my car, which I've taken it off completely. As well as it runs all the way back over here around the oil filter and to the back of the engine to the oil cooler. Before we get into replacing this pipe, I want to give a shout out to emanuals.com for reaching out to me, being a partner with them, to give you guys a 22% discount on any workshop manual for any vehicle of your choosing, whether it's a BMW, whether it's a Mercedes, Audi, whatever it is, they have a manual for it. Also, they have manuals for any electrical appliance or whatever it is that you need. Check out emanuals.com, link down below in the video description, and use code Preshaan22 at checkout. So I'm using the manual for the 320D, which I'll be showing you guys. The manual that they gave you is online based, and it can go through every single option on the vehicle based on what you have through your vehicle's VIN. Step-by-step instructions on how to replace, remove, torque specs, whatever it is, it has everything there. It's online based like I mentioned, so you always have access to it. If you're interested, check out the link down below. Use code Preshaan22 at checkout. Without further ado, let's get back into the video. To get access to the pipe, what we're going to need to do is remove the charge pipe, and there will be a 10mm screw here behind the oil filter and a 10mm here under the intake port. There's a clip here, a clip here, a clip over here, as well as there'll be one at the back that goes into the oil cooler, which is behind here, which you guys will see once I get to it. This pipe will be transferred onto the new pipe. Since I don't have an EGR cooler anymore, this pipe will just get transferred over. The replacement will be essentially done. Before we drain the coolant, I want to get everything done, get everything removed up top here, then I can start draining the coolant. I'll be able to lift the vehicle up in the air and drain the coolant from underneath. Also, I'll be able to remove the undercovers and put something underneath to catch all the remaining coolant, so don't just mess up everywhere. Now that we've got the hardware removed, it's time to pick the vehicle up, remove the undercovers, and drain the coolant. Now that we've got all the undercovers out of the car, it's time to drain the coolant. I'm going to put something underneath to catch all the coolant that's going to be coming off, and then we can remove the pipe. To start removing, I'm going to open up the coolant expansion tank so there's no pressure in the system. Now once that's done, I'm going to remove or release some pressure within the existing pipe itself. So I'm going to remove the screw and let the coolant drain out. Now I could be doing this on the radiator, but I choose not to. So let all that go in. You can see it just drips down, as well as I'm going to do it from the expansion bottle as well. The more air gets into the system, the quicker that it drains. So while that's draining, I'm just going to move around and make sure that there's nothing leaking onto the floor. Now that we got the system drained, I tried a little hack. I removed this pipe here off the thermostat and allowed all the water to drain out from the radiator, so everything should be emptied right here. This part here was removed so that the pipe could be emptied itself, as everything escaped from the expansion tank as well. So that means the system is empty, bearing in mind that whatever is in the block is still fine. So I'm going to remove this pipe out now by removing these clips as I've shown earlier, and to replace them now. Now with that pain in the behind out of the way, you can see the pipe is now free, except for the fact that it's getting caught over here. So I'm going to remove these two number 10 nuts, remove the EGR vacuum controller so that I can have a little more space and this pipe will come off. The only reason why I have this still still in the car is because it's still plugged in and I don't want any codes to come up on the car. Other than that, it doesn't really make a difference. Now if you put up a side-by-side comparison, this is the exact same pipe that's needed. Part number will be linked down in the video description down below, so you guys can check that out as well. But all I have to do now is just transfer over this EGR pipe to this top end of the piping here, and I can slot this back in. As you can see, it's the exact same thing. Curvatures and everything are all the same. It even comes with a new bleeder screw. Every time you work on the cooling system, it is important that you replace the bleeder screws on any piping that you work on to ensure that there is proper pressure and it seals in correctly. Now as you guys can see, on the thermostat end it was breaking, so this was bound to fail either way. But if I look at it from here, on the end in the seam, you can see the seam has got this orange little gunk on it. That's where it was separating under pressure. So I'm sure of it that this was failing, and which is why I've been losing coolant every time the vehicle gets hot. But otherwise I don't see anything else here, but this is the most prominent area of failure, so I'm assuming that this is where the crack was. If I inspect the back end of it, you can see it is starting to get brittle, so it's a good thing that this is now being replaced. It's fairly inexpensive, but you can check this out on Amazon or eBay or wherever it is. Link down below where you can check it out. But for now I'm just going to transfer this over to the new pipe and we can reinstall this one. Now that we got the pipe reattached to the main distribution pipe, it's now time to install it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed it in from this end here to get it to take place. Put you guys there for a bit. Just like that, and we can start assembling. Well, it's in place, so we can start assembling. I'm going to start assembling from the back because this is the most painful backside area to work with. Starting off by putting in the clip. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but I had to remove the C-clip from the back hose so I can be able to wiggle the hose out of it. So I'm going to start off with this. Okay, with the clip back in place, it's now time to feed this pipe back in. Start off by placing it in, getting it into places. And now that we got that there, I'm going to start off with the thermostat end, since that needs to get in first. Okay, with that in, I'm going to feed that in and turn the clip on, so then when I place it in, when I feed it in, it'll make an audible click, so you know that it's set in. Just like that. Same goes for this other side here, you guys can see it. Same goes for here. Clip in and that's it. Always make sure that you tug it back to make sure it won't back off. So now that part's in, I'm going to install the back end. Okay, that clicked, so the pipe is now secure and the system is closed. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in the 10 millimeters that I can get my hands into, so that the pipe is fully secure. starting off with the one at the back, which is right here. You guys can see that. Now with the labor part taken care of, it is now time to bleed the system. First thing is first, I am not using regular tap water or normal water or anything. I'm using deionized water, which I've purchased. I've got like 15 liters of it. The system will take like about 7 liters. So the first fill is going to be just pure water only, just to get all the air out of the system. And then we're going to start the car, let it circulate, see what comes up, and then we're going to fill the coolant once the vehicle is idling. Starting off firstly, I'm going to input the last 7 of the VIN. So it's NE, and click accept. Once it's done, it'll populate all of the details for the vehicle, and then you're just going to go into vehicle management, and you see repair and maintenance, and then you're going to go to whichever option you're going to be using. In this case, it's going to be cooling system. So from there, it'll search up all of the relevant items for the cooling system. So we're going to look for bleed cooling system and check for water tightness, which is the main thing that we're going to be using for this demonstration. So we're going to click bleed, and we'll click display. It's going to open up this window, and from there you can see all of the steps needed, or all the steps necessary to go through and do the entire cooling system. So that's step by step what you can do with it. There's also many other things that you can use this manual for. So I would recommend giving it a go, and I guarantee that you're going to be happy with it. It'll help you with every single step on anything, whether it's an oil change to an engine rebuild. So I'm going to close that for now, and I'm going to get back into the video. I'm going to start off by removing the bleeder screw that comes supplied with the pipe. It's not very tight, so all I'm going to do is remove this. But I want to get the main system bled first before we tackle the expansion tank. We have 5 liters of deionized water. I'm going to fill it in. Now you're going to want to keep pouring until all of the air bubbles have escaped. Now I can see that's coming out very clear, so I'm going to start closing it up. And we're going to fill up the bottle. And as you can see, level is now up to level. It will go down once we start the car. So I'm going to bleed the expansion tank as well. I'm going to release this. And fill. And as you can see, there's no bubbles. I'm going to close it up. Now with everything all fully secure, I'm going to put in the EGR controller, so that part's taken care of. Now we're going to start the car and I'm going to idle it for 2500 RPM. Watch what happens to the level. But now that the bleeding part is done, I'm going to leave the car idling for a bit while I close up underneath. So I'm going to let the car get up to temperature while I work on underneath, close up underneath the car and monitor for it. There's no leaks at the moment, there's nothing going on. The bleeding system is complete. So I'm just going to let the car idle while I close up underneath and we should be good to go. Well, there you have it, guys. The cooling pipe is replaced, the cooling system is completely bled, new coolant is in, and the system is running 100%. Even the heater is actually working much better than before. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on the video. It really helps me grow on the channel. And if you have any feedback, leave your comments down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Also remember, link down below if you want to pick up a workshop manual for yourself. Don't forget to use code Preshaan22 on checkout to get your discount. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much for all your support. The next thing I have to do is to replace the expansion tank bottle cap. Oversight, I should have done that while I'm doing this right now, but that can be done at any time. Next thing I will probably do is the transmission mounts, which you'll see in the next coming videos, or something other than that. But I do have some other smaller things to do, which I'll be doing at home on my way back. But anyway, thank you so much again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.